It's Platt, and today we try a beer from Sweden. That's next to Platt's Beer of the Week. Well, as I said in the intro, we have a beer from all the way from Sweden this week, an interesting little beer. The Big Idjit from Dugge Brewing. Idjit is translated into idiot or whatever. I don't think it's just a Swedish thing. I think it's a Northern European translation or whatever. I think I've heard it before, Idjit. But so big idiot beer. This comes to us from the Dugge Ale Oct Porter Brewery. Hopefully I'm saying that right, or kind of right. Basically it translates into the Dugge Ale and Porter Brewery. Those are the two types of beers they kind of focus on. The brewery was founded in 2005 outside of Gothenburg, Sweden, by a gentleman named Mikael Dugge Engström, and so that's where we get the Dugge for the beer label. They are focused on making top fermented beers, so that's ales, but in a uniquely American way. A little different than a lot of breweries here in the U.S. They may do German-style beers or Belgian-style. You know, we talked about Gordon Biersch kind of following the right high school boot. This is it in reverse. This is a European brewery that is influenced by the American craft beer scene. Part of the way that expression comes out is they use American-style hops instead of the noble hops that are popular in Europe. They use American hops like Chinook, and which makes sense because they do a lot of American-style pale ales, IPAs, what have you. So those classic American hops just kind of lend to that style of beer. Speaking of style of beer, they kind of work two different ends of the spectrums. They specialize in big Imperial stouts. They do some real unique stuff with these stouts, high ABVs, stuff like that. Also on the other end, they'll do a lot of fruit sour beers or fruity IPAs, which is kind of a hipper thing the last couple of years. So that they kind of, there's no middle ground. They don't do just generic pale ales or light lagers or blonde ales or anything like that. They have won several awards throughout Europe at different beer festivals, what have you, including the Stockholm Beer and Whiskey Festival, which is in their own backyard, which makes sense. Some of the interesting beers they do, like I said, they do have some unique beers. If you get a chance, hit their website, check some of them out. Just going to read from my notes. The Anagram Barrel-Aged Blueberry Cheesecake Stout. That's quite a mouthful, but blueberry cheesecake stout, that does sound good. The Tutti Frutti Sour Fruit Ale, and the Sweet Dessert Strong Ale. So they have a unique variety of beers. Like I said, they're not just playing the hits of pale ale, a blonde ale, a stout, a porter, what have you. They're pushing the envelope a little bit more. Well, before we try the Big Idjit, let's check out the stats. All right, the Big Idjit is what's called an Imperial Stout. And I quickly kind of want to talk about Imperial Stouts today. You may have heard me in previous videos refer to something as a big beer or having a big beer profile. Well, Imperial Stout is a perfect example of that. When I talk about big beers, we're talking about higher ABV. They have more viscosity. They have more of a mouthfeel to it than your lighter beers. Just big's kind of a good term for it. These Imperial Stouts, their ABV is 7 to 12, so this is, 2 to 3 times what a regular, session style, Bud Light style beer has for ABVs. SRM, we're at 39 to 40. This is a dark beer, almost motor oil black. IBUs 50 to 80, which is the high end of the range, but these aren't hoppy beers. It's just to balance out the malt. There's just so much malt in these beers, so we want a little bit of balance. They're stronger bodied, stronger taste, more intense. Again, that's where you kind of get the term big, bold. known for malt sweetness, malt character. Again, you're not going to get a lot of hop aroma or flavor on these beers. You will get some bitterness, but it's not just from the hops. It's because the dark roasted malts. These malts are almost burnt to a point where, you know, if you have really strong beer, really dark, coffee, like a dark roast coffee, you get a little bitterness almost from that roast. It's no longer just the malt sweetness. You get a little bitterness, and you'll pick up some of that in these style beers. Well, enough talking about Imperial Stouts. Let's try an Imperial Stout. Oh yeah, this pour is just pitch black. A very thin, well, I don't know, almost, we poured a little aggressive there, but we got a little more than a finger plus a very dark khaki on the nose. Plenty of malt sweetness, a little bit of that espresso coffee in there. Let's give her a try. Oh my gosh, that is good. Dark fruit, a lot of malt sweetness, but almost kind of like, it's not a milk chocolate sweetness, more of maybe a cocoa powdered chocolate expression. Like I said, the malt sweetness is there. To me, has almost a little bit of a barley wine kind of taste to it. But really nice beer. Even though it's 12% alcohol, I'm not getting the burn. It is a little more approachable than I would have thought of a beer at 12% or higher. And that being said, I'm still not going to chug this thing. But really nice beer. Probably fits style-wise a little more classically in the winter, warmer kind of beer. But this is something I could drink as a dessert anytime. Now it's got me curious to explore some of their other beers. A blueberry cheesecake stout just sounds like something I need to give a try. Overall, good beer though. Like I said, it's a bigger beer. This is not something for the Miller Lite drinkers. But if you're a little adventurous, and if it's a cold night, or you want something just more, give the Big Idjit a try. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or ideas for beers for me to try, please leave them in the comment section, or you can contact me on the Twitter page. Until next time, bottoms up.